All right, so today I'm going to demonstrate how to make a pinch pot pumpkin. It's going to be the first step. We'll have a second video which will show how to finish up that pumpkin. I'm going to start out with 2 balls of clay about the same size. These ones are about the size of a large apricot. It needs to be something you can definitely fit into your hand to be able to do this very easily. Step 1, you can turn it into clearly a pretty good ball shape. You can take your thumb, stick it right down in the middle of it. You want to make sure it's even all the way around. You want to push your thumb down until it's about 1/4 of an inch from the other side. Okay, so my thumb is most of the way through, but not all the way through. Okay, now the size of the ball was important because of being able to put your fingers over here. You need to be able to kind of reach around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate and pinch. I'm pinching right here with my fingers, right here. Rotate and pinch, rotate and pinch, rotate and pinch. I'm going to keep doing that as I try to even out the bottom. This area right here underneath, you can kind of almost see kind of a ball forming right there, or a flat spot forming. And I'm basically going to work my way out slowly, pinching, 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 trying to basically thin out the clay as it works up this direction. So I'm getting thinner and thinner and thinner. But what's really important is that you don't get to the point where you can't reach the bottom before you've thinned it out. You need to thin out this area first and then work your way this direction, making it even, about the same thickness. You don't want to be very specific about every little spot, making sure it's perfect. You just want to spin and rotate, or spin and pinch, spin and pinch, spin and pinch, spin and pinch, and just keep doing that as you thin it out. You also want to avoid becoming too wide at this point, because it's really hard to bring the pot back in. So at this point, I'm trying to pull this direction. I'm not going to let it come out into a more of a plate form. Okay. In the end, I don't want to be too thin, but I also don't want it too thick. Because of what I'm making here is a pumpkin, and I want to be able to work on that shape later on. I don't want it to get any thinner than 1/4 of an inch. But you should probably be aiming more for 3/8 of an inch, at the maximum 1/2 an inch. You don't want to be 1/2 an inch is pretty thick. Okay, so about that thick. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing over here with the second one, with less talking. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, so don't think you should be working this fast, because you shouldn't. Take your time, do a good job, pinch, 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 pinch. You should be going slower than this. Making sure that it's even, make sure you don't have any really thin spots. I'm going to kind of flatten out those lips so that they're even, and I need to make them the same size. So this one needs to come out a little bit. They need to be same size for what we're doing right now. Okay, I think that will work. I'm going to take these 2 things and we're going to score the lip. Now, my college teacher told me the fork was the most important tool in his bucket. There are also tools like this that are designed specifically for this purpose of scoring this edge. But I personally like the fork because it really gets in deep. But the tools we have in class, not everybody's going to have a fork. Although we might go get some plastic forks. I don't know. I'm not sure what tools we're going to have out for you tomorrow. But these edges are definitely scratched up significantly. They're not like barely lightly scratched because you're trying to be careful with them. They are rough and they're scratched up. I'm going to take a little bit of water, put that on that edge. If you had slip, that would be better, but we're not going to have slip in this classroom. Slip is basically liquefied clay. This step here is actually a little more important if your clay was drier, but technically roughly speaking. Okay, now I'm going to put these things together. I'm going to do so carefully, trying to make them as even as possible. See how this thing's overhanging here? I don't want that, so I'm going to take a moment to really, before I push it in, I'm going to take time to line them up really well and get these things lined up really well. Give it a good kind of push. Now, at this point, there's air pressure inside, so I can put a little bit more pressure, but you really want to make sure you obviously don't want to collapse these balls. So I'm not pushing, I'm not just willy-nilly pushing in on it. I'm being careful to not collapse it while I try to seal off this line here. Now that I've got it pretty well sealed off and I can actually feel the air pressure inside, I'm going to take a tool. We'll have various different tools out there for you, and I'm going to drag this one into that one and go all the way around. You probably want to be a little more careful than I'm being, because I don't want to make a half-an-hour video. I'm going to drag that direction, trying to push that clay down into that, and then I'm going to come back the other direction as well. I'm not sure what tool we'll have out for you tomorrow, probably some sort of a wood knife or some sort, but this fork works nicely for that. This is really one of the most crucial parts of this assignment, or this project, because you really want to make sure these things are well attached. Now I'm going to take a moment to try to clean up this edge. And because I have sealed this thing pretty well, the air inside is going to help me to keep it from collapsing on itself. You don't want to use a ton of water right now. Don't get your hands all sloppy. You may think that it's doing you favors, but it's not. You're getting your clay wet, which is going to soak into the clay, and it's going to end up causing it to be an issue. Sure, you might be able to make it smoother, but we're going to be doing this pumpkin in a two-step process. We're going to make it a general pumpkin form, and then we're going to let it sit and dry a bit, and then we're going to go in and add the detail. All right, so we have our pumpkin now, or our general kind of rounded form. I'm going to put a little bit of a dip in the top. I'm actually going to poke at this point, which means at this point I'm going to need to be a little more careful, because I'm opening it up so that a little air can get in. I'm doing that because at this point I need to be more careful, because I have now gotten rid of that protection I had from the air bubble. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to crease this. If I had the air pressure on the inside at this point, it may not be allowing me to come in as much as I'd like to. Now, I don't know why, but just about every pumpkin I see, like a man-made pumpkin tchotchke you see at Michael's or other places, Target, they seem to make it so every one of these lobes is identical. They're all exactly the same as it goes around, and that always bothers me, because pumpkins are not like that. If you actually look at an actual pumpkin, actually, you find that they are slightly random. They're similar, but there's skinnier ones and wider ones. So I always prefer, on the pumpkins that I make them a little bit varied. Now this is obviously where you need to be most careful, because if you're not careful while you're doing this, then you could just squash the whole thing. I'll do one last one here. And that's pretty much what we're looking for today, is the general kind of pumpkin form. It's well combined. There are no cracks showing. It's really well sealed. You have a general kind of form of a pumpkin. Now at this point, it's going to be, you could continue trying to make it more perfect and more clean and get rid of all this stuff, but it's going to be a lot easier to do that if you wait 24 hours. We're going to cover it up slightly so that it doesn't dry out too much, and we're going to wait 24 hours, and then tomorrow you'll be able to pick it up and you'll be able to actually carve these lines and kind of clean it up a lot more. Okay, that's the end of our video for today. Thank you.